Thank you, Ineke, for taking the time today to share your experiences with us. And my first question would be, which year did you join the Future Leader program?
So I joined Future Leaders in 2018.
And what motivated you to join it?
I was motivated to join it because I had a bunch of colleagues who had been in the program, and the things they would come back and tell me about the events that they went to and the people that they met and the networking opportunities was unlike anything that I had experienced in other organizations. And I had a great mentor and friend at the time who sponsored me and really encouraged me to go into the program because he had also been in Future Leaders, and he ended up being a board member and a chairman of the board. So I had a lot of great examples of what the program can do for you.
And then can you share a specific moment or project from the program that had a lasting impact on you and your career?
Yeah. It's a hard question to answer because I think every year I was in Future Leaders, there was something that I endeavored to do with the team that had a lasting impact, either because we developed content that was premier and wonderful, or because I developed a friendship or a network that I'm going to take not only through my career, but through my life. I guess I'll answer it by saying I think the pinnacle was the 2 years that I was able to serve as a Future Leader liaison. So I did that from 2020 to 2021. I started doing it with Bob Williams and Teresa Jensen. And we not only came through COVID, which was a year that ECC went remote, and we tried to maintain engagement with the Future Leader program, grow the program, and really support people that were struggling significantly in our industry. And then coming through to 2021, to the moment where we all had to be on stage together. And for those of you who don't know me, I get a little bit of stage fright, as does Bob Williams. So we came through that together. And those two are probably some of my closest friends going forward in my life.
Well, that already covered my question on if you're still in touch with some of the alumni.
Oh, yeah.
And how beneficial the network has been.
It's honestly been it's a friends reunion every time I come to an ECC event. But more than that, the thing that I take into my daily career is the opportunity to reach out to folks that I respect in the industry, to get advice, to get insight in what they think about my particular market, projects that we're potentially going after, or just general career advice about what the right next move for me is professionally. And that's invaluable, right? I didn't have those types of strong relationships before I came into Future Leaders.
Yeah, I can second that. And only the beginning, but I can already tell. So I guess the stage fright thing would be one of the skills that you have developed to fight against really well. But
Once you're on stage in front of 600 of your closest friends and people that you respect most in your industry, everything else after that feels a little bit easier.
So are there any other, especially leadership skills or practices that you developed through the program and that you're still using today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of times in our industry, leadership is not about command and control. It's about leading through influence and motivation, and making sure that your team has what they need to complete the task, whether it's a project or something else, developing content for future leaders. And it's even more important when you're working with a volunteer organization made up of individuals that have very diverse backgrounds. They have very different professional lives. They're busy, and this is something that they're doing on a volunteer basis. And you have to be really cognizant of that. And so the ability to motivate and get people aligned in the same direction while really listening to the diverse ideas that come to the table is a skill set that has absolutely helped shape my success in my career.
That actually also already answers the next question, on how the program shaped your career trajectory. So that you already covered this one. Then maybe one last thing I would love to ask you is there any advice you would like to give the future leaders coming in now? You have 90 this year and still growing. what they could do to get the best and the most out of the program.
So I'm gonna, repeat the cliche that I'm sure you've heard from everybody else, that you absolutely get out of it what you put into it. And I went in and put my all into Future Leaders and was able to achieve being a liaison, which when I went to my first event and I was so nervous to introduce myself to people, I couldn't have imagined that that was the experience I would have, um, as I went through the program. So it's definitely true. You're going to hear it over and over again, but certainly do as much as you can while you're in the program. And then I think the second most important piece of advice is just make sure you're not the last guy at the bar before a Wednesday session.
That is really good advice. Thank you very much, Ineke.
Thank you.